Hi, my name is Caroline. I'm the Families Worker here at Litchfield Mission, and every Saturday I'm making little craft videos for you to do at home. So the craft videos are based on Friday in our resource called Table Talk, where every day in Table Talk, Monday to Friday, we learn a little bit about God or what it means to follow Jesus. And on Fridays, we've just started looking at the Hebrews Hall of Faith, which we find in Hebrews chapter 11. And last week for our craft, we're going to be making a book all about the Hebrews Hall of Faith. And last week we made our front cover. So it has Hebrews Hall of Faith, and it has the definition of faith that we find in Hebrews chapter 11 verses 1 to 2. So if you haven't made this, I would pop over to that craft video and do that first. Doesn't take very long, it's just a little bit of colouring in. And then you can move on to today's craft, where we're looking at the first person who we find in the Hebrews Hall of Faith. And that's this person, who's called Abel. So Abel, I don't know if you remember, we learned about Abel a few weeks ago, but Abel was one of Adam and Eve's sons. So Adam and Eve have two sons, one called Abel and one called Cain. Now Abel was he raised all the livestock, he raised all of the animals that they would eat, and Cain was a farmer, so he grew all the fruit and veg that they would eat. And both Cain and Abel give sacrifices to God. And Abel gave God the very, 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 very best that he had. And Cain just gave some of what he had. And so the Bible tells us that God was really pleased with the sacrifice that Abel gave him, because Abel was giving God his very best. But he wasn't so happy with the sacrifice that Cain offered, because Cain wasn't really given his best. And in Hebrews 11 verse 4, we read a little bit more about this. So here's the rest of today's craft, the second page in our little book. So we have Hebrews 11 verse 4. By faith, Abel offered a better sacrifice than Cain did, and that's our little sheep. And then we have a thumbs up, because God said he was pleased with the gifts Abel offered. And then we have the last bit. So God called Abel a good man because of his faith. So the Bible says that Abel giving God his very, very best was a sign of the faith that he had in God. Because Abel loved God so much, he wanted to give God his very best. And because he trusted in God and he followed God, he knew that he could give God his very best without worrying about what he was going to be left with afterwards. He could give God his very best sheep. He didn't need to hold on to it for himself, because he wanted to give that to the God that he loved and the God that he trusted. That's how Abel had faith. And that means for us that we should probably give God the very best that we can give him as well. We shouldn't give him only a little bit of what we have to offer. We should give God our very best, because we love him and we can trust him to look after us when we give him our very best. So this is the second page of our Hebrews Hall of Faith book, and I'll go ahead and show you how to make it. So the first thing you need to do is head to our website and download and print the PDF, and I'll put a link on the screen now. And once you've downloaded and printed it, you should have 3 pieces of paper that look like this. So you have this one with the different pieces for the fold out bit. We have this one, the last 2 pieces, and we have a picture of Abel. And then we have the first one, which is our kind of entry in the Hebrews Hall of Faith for Abel. So you need to print this out and colour it all in. And this one we're going to put to the side for later. But these 2, we are going to cut them out. So we're going to cut these out just around the shape of the writing and around the shape of the different pictures, and cut out around Abel, so that we have all of these ready to stick into the thing properly. Okay, so we're going to put the smaller ones to one side to use later, and we're going to take Abel and we're going to make the front cover of today's page first. So just like last time, we're going to fold the piece of paper in half, like this, so our 2 corners line up, and then we're going to fold it down. And then we're going to take some double-sided sticky tape or some glue, and we're going to quickly stick down all of the edges, so that we're making it into one smaller page. So stick it down there and there, oops, and there. Because it's going to be super sticky, it doesn't really need to be done very neatly. And then this last one. than we have on the page. And so this is going to be the half of the page where the Bible verse goes, but on the front cover we need to have a drawing of the person we're learning about, so that's Abel. So we're going to stick Abel there in the middle. So you can colour the background of the frame in if you want to make Abel stand out a bit more, but I'm just going to leave it this colour. And you can use glue or you could do double-sided sticky tape. And there we go. So now we stick Abel down too. So now we have Abel's picture hanging in the Hebrews Hall of Faith, and we have the Bible verse at the bottom. And then on this side of the page we're going to make the Bible verse so that we can read it. So we need to take another piece of paper, like this one, and we're going to fold it in half. We'll put this to one side because we don't need it quite yet, and then we'll have some space to work. So we're going to fold this in half like that, and then we are going to cut it in half. So we'll cut along the fold. Or at least that's what we're going to try to do. Okay, and this is where we're going to stick all of these things, but we're going to do it kind of like an accordion. So we're going to do lots of folds so that we can fold things out properly. So the very first one, which is going to be the front one, is going to be the Hebrews 11:4. So I'm going to stick that down because that's going to introduce the Bible verse, so we're going to know exactly where we're reading from in the Bible. So if we wanted to go and read it, we could find it there. And if you have a different colour piece of paper for this piece, that would also be good. But I couldn't find any other paper, so I'm sticking with white. Okay, so that's our first piece down. And then we're going to fold it like that. Okay, and then here is where we're going to stick our next one. So the next part of the Bible verse is the beginning where it says, by faith Abel. So here is where we're going to be learning about what Abel did by faith. So we're going to do the same thing where we stick that down. Then we are going to fold again. And here we've run out of paper. So we're going to take this piece of paper and we're just going to stick it on there. So you can use some sellotape for this, or some glue, or some double-sided sticky tape. And I've only got double-sided sticky tape, so that's what I'm going to use. But I don't need this much, so we're going to quickly cut it and make it a bit thinner. There we go. We can save that for later, we might need it. So put that there. And stick this on so we can carry on folding. Just like that. Okay, so we have by faith Abel, and then the next part is the sheep. And this is going to be a bit deceptive because it's not just going to be a sheep. This is going to be one of the ones where we can peel it back and we can see what it says underneath. So the little bit that goes underneath is this bit that says, offered a better sacrifice than Cain. So we're going to take some double-sided sticky tape and we're going to stick this one down in the centre of the piece, well, of the square that we folded. So like that. So offered a better sacrifice than Cain did. And then we're going to take another piece of sticky tape and we're only going to stick down some of the sheep. So I think we should stick down the top of the sheep so that when we lift the sheep up, we'll be able to read what's hidden underneath. So like that. So we have Hebrews 11 verse 4, by faith Abel offered a better sacrifice than Cain did. So now we need to do the next piece, which is going to go here. And this is another one where we're going to have something hidden underneath. So this time we've got, God said he was pleased with what Abel offered. So we're going to take some more double-sided sticky tape and we're going to stick this one down. And stick that in the middle. And then we've got our thumbs up. And we're going to stick the thumbs up here, so that we can read what it says underneath. And if you're using glue, this might be a bit trickier because you'll need to wait for the glue to dry before you can start lifting it up and down, because otherwise you might tear it off. So you just have to be a bit patient with it if you're using glue. So we stick this one down and we'll make sure the thumb isn't poking up. There we are. So now we have Hebrews 11:4. By faith, Abel offered a better sacrifice than Cain did. God said he was pleased with the gifts Abel offered. And just like before, we fold this one again. So like that. And now here is where we're going to be sticking our last piece. So we're going to stick this one down in the middle. So we'll save this bit that I've cut off for the speech bubble. So we'll put that to one side. And then we're going to take some more double-sided sticky tape and stick the verse down. There we go, so that's going to go there. And then we're going to take this bit, and the speech bubble goes like that, so we're going to put this at the top again. Okay, and just like before, even though we haven't got anything else to stick down, we're still going to fold it, because that is going to be how we attach it to here. So we have Abel and Hebrews 11:4, and then we are going to take some double-sided sticky tape and put it all over this rectangle we've got here, the very last fold in our piece of paper. And we have to make sure this is properly stuck down, otherwise the whole thing will come off, because this is the only place we're going to be sticking this to the piece of paper. And then we turn it around and we're going to put it somewhere kind of in the middle, like that. So now we're looking through our Hebrews Hall of Faith book, and we come to the very first entry, which is going to be all about Abel. And then we have a picture of Abel with the sacrifice that he offered to God. And it tells us that the verse for Abel in the Hebrews Hall of Faith is Hebrews 11:4. Now when we turn over the page, we have Hebrews 11:4 written out for us. So we have, by faith Abel offered a better sacrifice than Cain did. God said he was pleased with the gifts Abel offered, so God called Abel a good man because of his faith. That's Hebrews 4 verse 11. So then we're going to find our Hebrews Hall of Faith page that we made last time, and we're going to keep them together. And each week we're going to keep adding until we have a whole book all about the Hebrews Hall of Faith. So that's it for this week, and I'll see you next week. Bye!